Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, comparing the Silverado ZR2 Bison to the Ford F-150 Tremor. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Large Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo, Utah for giving me some time with this Tremor. This one is available for sale for the time being, so if you're interested, I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. Just ask for John Jenks if you have any questions. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering the ZR2 is a naturally aspirated 6.2 liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 14 around town and then 17 on the highway, with power outputs being 420 horsepower and then 460 pound-feet of torque. Powering the Tremor is a twin-turbo 3.5 liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 16 around town and then 20 on the highway, with power outputs being 400 horsepower and then 500 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with this comparison, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Starting over with the ZR2, we've got 11.2 inches of ground clearance with this truck, which is really solid. Got that cool bulge there in the center. It actually has a 6.2L badge. Of course, we got the Chevy flow tie as well. Notice almost everything's blacked out. Now, this is the Bison package. So we've got this bumper from AEV. It's got these super aggressive recovery points on the front end, and it just gives the truck a really cool off-roader appearance. Now, over on the side of the Tremor, we've got 10.9 inches of ground clearance, so a little bit less than the ZR2, but we still have some cool elements. You've got the vents there on the hood. Are they functional? Who cares? And then you guys can see here with the upgraded lights that come with this version of the Tremor. Now, people still try to tell me this is orange, and well, I guess I'm still colorblind because it looks gold / bronze. Can't really tell. Anyways, there's the front end of the Tremor. With the ZR2, we've got 18-inch wheels and then 33-inch tall tires, and you have these special AEV wheels with this particular truck. Then you guys can see stuff like the fender flares, the rock rail protection. We do have extra skid plates with this Bison package, ZR2 logo, and then there's the Bison logo there on the back. Now, the ZR2 has a 2-inch lift from the factory in the front, and so you can see it has this nice level stance because of that lift. Now, with the Tremor, we also have 33s and 18-inch wheels, just like the ZR2. And then you have some cool accenting here on the side, and you guys can see everything's like body painted. Got the Raptor-style side steps, and of course, Tremor there on the back. And then here's your full side view with the Tremor. It is relatively level, but there is definitely a rake where the back end is a little bit higher than the front end. Now, when it comes to suspension in the rear, solid rear axle, we got leaf springs, and then multimatic shocks. You guys can kind of see the shock there with the blue and the gold. With the Tremor, we've got a solid rear axle, leaf springs, and then we've got twin tube shocks in the back with monotube up front. And then when it comes to rear styling, the Tremor's definitely gone for more of a sporty appearance. You guys can see here with the dual exhaust tips. You still have recovery points, you know, practical off-road stuff, but they've definitely gone for sports truck versus with the ZR2, you guys can see here with the aggressive off-road style bumper, the exhaust tips that are pointed downwards so they help out with departure angle, going more towards the off-roader side. Now, inside the Tremor, we've got plenty of legroom. I love the door panel here with all of the stitching. And you guys will notice that coloration continues all throughout the interior. Seats are very nice, very comfy. More towards the luxury side of things. We do have heated seats here in the back, some vents, all of that kind of stuff. And then headroom back here is good. Now, the ZR2 is just as spacious as the Ford, and we've got bright stitching, I guess, just like the Ford. I do like this, which is easy to clean. And you guys can see that continues onto the seats as well. Still got heated seats, still got vents, all that kind of stuff. And then you guys can see headroom's good. So some key points at the front of the Tremor. We've got stitching all over to contrast all of the black in this interior, which is really nice. We've got this cool digital gauge cluster here in the center. We've got tons of different drive modes for both on-road and off-road use. And then you guys can see we've got this nice 360 camera system with the Tremor as well. We've got like our little off-road cruise control, and if we go over to the feature tab here, trail turn assist as another bit of off-road tech. Dual zone climate, heated and ventilated seats. And then you guys can see with our drive line, we have 2-wheel high, 4-wheel auto, and 4-wheel low. Locking differential in the rear, and then that's your drive mode select. Now, this doesn't have a front locking differential, but it does have a Torsen front differential, so that kind of mimics a front locking differential. And then you guys can see here with the stitching, I do like this trim in the Tremor. I think that looks really cool. And then I got to show Ford center console because it's absolutely enormous. And then, by the way, here are the front seats. They got speakers in the headrest. You got the Tremor logo, all of that, and you got that same cool trim on the glove box. Power sliding rear window, of course, but big thing, you got 6 auxiliary switches with this. Probably can't see it very well. And they do have a panoramic sunroof. Now in the ZR2, we've got paddle shifters here on the back of the steering wheel, so I guess that's an added element of fun. No fun stitching, it's only on stuff like the center console, which, by the way, love the tactile feel of this material here. And you can see, not as big as the Fords. But anyways, digital gauge cluster. We have some off-road drive modes here with this. And you guys can see 360 camera system. I will say this is more user-friendly than the Fords, and I just like the system overall. Infotainment systems, they're both pretty similar in terms of, I guess, likability, if that makes sense. We do have front end locking differentials in this, so no need for a Torsen when you just have a traditional front locker. Still have stuff like dual zone climate, heated and ventilated seats, you got trailer brake controls, all that kind of stuff. Some other important things is just like the overall design and the fit and finish, I think is better in the Silverado compared to the Ford. I mean, you guys can let me know which one you like more, but I think that like the build quality seems to be a little bit better, a little bit tighter. We do have stuff like a rear view camera mirror, no sunroof, surprisingly, and then of course power sliding window, and then AEV in the headrest there. Other than that though, they're just the regular ZR2 seats, as you can see. Now when it comes to pricing, that Tremor sticker's for about $78,000, and then that ZR2 sticker's for about $85,000. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood. Both of the mirrors, just do a blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, Tremor away. So funny enough, I haven't actually posted, as me filming this video, I haven't posted the Raptor versus ZR2 video on YouTube, but I posted a short video on Instagram, and a lot of people commented, Ben, you need to do ZR2 versus Tremor. And I said, okay, I guess I will. And here we are, we're doing ZR2 versus Tremor. And you know, a loaded up Tremor at that. It's been really hard to find these loaded up Tremors, but it seems like there's finally some level of availability. So first off, with the Tremor, just like all new F-150s, it is the most car-like truck on the market in terms of how it drives. It's very smooth. It's got a lightweight feel to it. Still body on frame, still solid rear axle, but again, it has like some car-like driving characteristics. It's very interesting. The twin turbo engine, it's tons of torque here at high elevation. That is never going to be an issue. Sprinklers into a stream. Interesting. Anyways, I just thought I'd mention that. I understand it's for the grass that's around the stream, but still, I think that's hilarious. Also, dude, learn how to drive a trailer. Seat's really comfortable in the Tremor, so getting this upgraded package I think is worth it for the seat comfort, and then obviously the added features like the 4-wheel drive auto and the air conditioned seat function. Like, I think it's all nice stuff to have. And let's see how this twin turbo V6 performs. What a monstrosity. Such a good engine. It's got so much oomph to it. And again, being at high elevation, these twin turbo engines are just really good. So to sum things up with our little drive here in the Tremor before we go over to the ZR2, apparently I can't talk today. I think it's really comfortable. It has the car-like F-150 driving dynamics, and you know, you don't really concede anything for being an off-road truck. Like, it just feels like pretty much every other Ford F-150. I mean, damping's maybe a little bit better, but it's honestly not too different from other F-150s. The biggest benefits is the looks that you get with this truck, and then obviously the added off-road capability that you won't have with a regular F-150. Again, the Torsen that this has, and then the, you know, locking rear differential and the all-terrain tires. Well, we're gonna set off in the ZR2. Of course, this is one thing that I hate about Chevys. When you start the vehicle, it does the AC on full blast. Doesn't matter like how hot or whatever the the reason I'm saying AC is because it's warm outside, but like the fans, full blast. And it doesn't need to be on full blast. It's just like the system starting up. Wait another second, and then it'll basically like calm down, and it's not with the cooling of the interior. It's just, see, boom, just shut off, because it's like, oh, this is how warm the interior is. Super frustrating. I wish they didn't do that, because like other cars don't do that. Anyways, aside from my annoyance with the climate control system, let's talk about how the ZR2 drives. So first off, Really smooth, just like the Ford, but has more of like a substantial truck-like feel to it. So it's a larger feeling vehicle, and even though like it isn't actually larger in size, it's just like it feels heavier. Hopefully that makes sense. And then aside from that, yeah, the handling on it, again, it's just not quite as sharp, but it is very comfortable. I will say that it is a very comfortable feel, and we'll see how the 6.2 performs. Woo! It's quick. It's not as quick as EcoBoost here at elevation. Even though this has more horsepower, it has less torque, but again, you're gonna have bigger power loss with this because of the elevation. So to sum things up here with this comparison, I've been living with the ZR2 for a week, so like I'm very familiar with how this truck drives. Here's kind of my take. I think the ZR2 looks better on the outside, just my personal opinion. I think the Ford looks great, but I think the ZR2 looks better. I like this interior more, honestly. It's not as luxurious as the Ford, but I like this utilitarian kind of feel and design. I think they did a really good job with it. And then when it comes to driving dynamics, I like the Ford driving dynamics more. I like the lighter weight feel, but they're both just as comfy as each other. And then when it comes to powertrains, I love V8s, but the EcoBoost is definitely quicker. So it's got that benefit to it. And so in terms of like, I guess which one I'd pick, the Tremor's a better value, right, when you look at the money. But I do think that the ZR2 is cooler looking, and it's just like a cooler vehicle. I think a standard ZR2, I'd pick that over the Tremor. But if we're talking about this Bison edition, I'd probably pick the Tremor, even though I like this truck slightly more. It's just the price, like it's super expensive for what you're getting with the options and everything. Anyways, let me know which one you'd pick. I think they're both cool off-road trucks. But yeah, would you go Team Tremor or Team ZR2?